Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, you're going to have Kyle. Kyle is from Los Angeles, in California, in the USA. So let's see what Kyle has to say. Enjoy the interview. So, hello, Kyle. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Very well. Thanks so much for taking the time today for the interview. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So, tell me, how's your morning going so far?
It's good so far, so good. Just doing a little bit of work and everything, but yeah, it's off to a good start.
Tell me, where are you from?
So I live in Los Angeles currently, but I'm from New Jersey originally.
And why the change from New Jersey to Los Angeles?
I wanted to pursue a career in media, and so
Mhm.
this is obviously LA is the spot to do that. Um, so I kind of came out about 12 years ago to LA.
Wow. So walk me through a little bit about your career so far.
Yeah, so I've been lucky enough to be able to do a few different types of things. Um, I have a company called KJL Media, which is a media company, and there's a few different branches to it. So the first branch is a digital media portion where I operate a lifestyle website and brand called hamptonstohollywood.com. And on there, we share content about what to do when you're in the Hamptons and Los Angeles and where to go. And we cover fashion and food and events and fitness. And we just came out with a line of sweatshirts, of crew neck sweatshirts for fall. So that is a really exciting thing because we've never launched apparel before. So that's been a really fun adventure. So there's the Hamptons to Hollywood side. And then I also am an author. So I've written three books, um, and they're all kind of stories about stepping outside your comfort zone, kind of coming of age stories. The last book that I wrote that came out last year is called Confessions of a Call Boy, and it became a bestseller. So that was very exciting.
Amazing.
And then I also do social media consulting. So I work with different people and brands and create content for them as well.
You're a busy man, I can see.
Thank you.
Right. Actually, I made a note here. Actually, when I was checking your profile, I made a note about, you write stories about stepping out of your comfort zone. As we already started talking about that, so why the idea of writing those books about that? It's something connect with your personal life, or is it something that you realize that people find difficulties of get out of their comfort zone? What was the idea behind?
Well, I think that idea, right, that you just said, it's really hard to step outside your comfort zone, but on the other side of it, there's so much opportunity for amazing things that can make your life more enriching and more exciting and more meaningful. And so I've been, yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I think everything as a writer, everyone kinds of writes their own story in different ways. And so, yeah, like I've always found myself to be very adventurous and doing things that I wasn't really sure what the outcome of an adventure would be. But I always found that whether it was a good or bad outcome, there's always a great lesson in it. And so I just think that that's the point of life, is to like learn and to experience things and to find, to make the most out of our time here.
Amazing. Okay. So through the journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your life and also about your joys overall. Okay.
Okay.
Kyle, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Yes.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I've got him a best friend full of wonderful questions. I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay, Kyle, before you start the game, during the join, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about some reason you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay.
First question for you is, what does success mean to you?
I think success to me means being able to follow your dreams and make a living doing that. So being able to pursue your passions and also monetizing that passion to be kind of like your full life.
I see. Yeah, I think success is very personal, isn't it? I think people, they find success in different ways, and what feels the joy of have the feeling of being successful. That's how I see. Cool. Next question. Okay, next question for you is, if you could have a cup of tea or a coffee with a fictional character, who that would be and why?
So one of my favorite books, excuse me, of all time is The Catcher in the Rye. Um, and I think the main character in that book's name is Holden Caulfield. And I think it's a coming of age story, right? Which are the types of stories that I like to write. And it's told in the first person and it really gives an insight into the mind of someone who's like on the precipice of like adulthood and kind of moving into this new iteration of his life. So I would love to talk to that person and share thoughts about what's gonna happen next.
Tell me, how was growing up in New Jersey, in your opinion? How was your experience?
I had a really I'm very lucky to have had a very nice childhood. My parents were both artists, or are both artists, I should say. So I was exposed to a lot of culture, and we were always going to like museums and plays and gallery openings and shows and whatever. And so it was a really nice. We were obviously close to New York City. We were close to Philadelphia. So it was just a really nice kind of cultural and enriching way to grow up. And I'm really happy to have had supportive parents who also, because they were in the arts, supported my own ambitions to go into the arts as well.
And which person in your family you are more close to?
I mean, I'm close to all of my family members, really. I mean, I have one brother, and then my mom and my dad, and we're all really close in different ways. My dad and I also often have very like existential thoughts conversations, and my mom and I talk about things that are just like funny and light, and my brother and I like to go on our fun little adventures together, so we're all really close.
Okay. And they're all back in New Jersey as well?
They're all back on the East Coast in different places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next one. Let's do it. Before the next question, tell me about the book Confessions of a Cowboy. Why the idea came along? Tell me about the process of getting everything together.
So I was really interested in sex work. We can talk about that on this podcast,
Absolutely.
right? So I was just really interested in sex work because it's had this kind of interesting resurgence with like OnlyFans and historically, I mean, it's the oldest profession known to mankind, like prostitution, and it's been stigmatized for centuries of being this really like bad thing that people assign to it. And with OnlyFans, like I said, in the maybe past 5 years, it's really kind of having like a rebrand. And I think people are seeing sex workers as more entrepreneurial, and a lot of those creators make like a ton of money from it, and they're kind of working in conditions that are much safer to them versus like the porn industry. You know what I mean? So I was just fascinated by it, and I wanted to write a story kind of like set in that world. And so the main character of my book, he kind of goes broke and he moves to Los Angeles and gets propositioned by this Hollywood writer to be a call boy, to be a male prostitute. and it's like the only way he has to make money, and so he kind of finds himself, working as a sex worker, and then the story kind of tells, all the kind of internal things he discovers about himself while doing that. So, what are the psychological ramifications of being a sex worker? What are the dangers? There's like a murder in the book, obviously, to make it exciting. Like what happens when that profession can go too far. So I was just really fascinated by it, and I thought it was a really timely story to tell.
What was the most challenging part for you to put the whole story together? There was something that for you found more difficult?
I just wanted to make it as, you know, I guess just as relatable as possible. I think like one of the things that really made me feel really good was I had a book signing for it, and people were coming up to me at the book signing and said, like who I didn't really know very well, and who said to me like, I had an experience like I worked as a sex worker or I hired a sex worker. And it's something that people don't like talking about, and so I was really, I guess it was maybe like what my proudest moment was of the book was having people feel like they could have a conversation about this thing that's really taboo. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so the hard part, I guess, was just making that feel authentic, and I feel like I did. So I'm really grateful for that.
I see. All right. Next question is, when was the last time that you laughed so hard that you couldn't stop?
I have I don't know. I mean, I find everything. I have a good sense of humor, so I feel like I laugh a lot. But the last time, oh gosh, I don't even remember. But I think I went on a hike yesterday with one of my best friends, and there was like a little like snake that like slithered past us on the trail, and I like screamed really loud because I was so shocked, and it was just like one of those like funny like silly like moments. So maybe then I just couldn't stop laughing.
Kyle, when you think about yourself, when you analyze yourself, what's the best part of being you? What's the best part of being Kyle?
I think my curiosity, because I'm really interested in topics like sex work or whatever, that can help me, that can fuel like a writing project or like my career. But I'm also really curious about people. So when I am at a party or something or meeting someone for the first time, I really like to get to know someone. And I think what that does for them is it makes them feel really seen and appreciated. And I'm
Mhm.
not doing it to like make them feel a certain way. I generally am curious about who they are, but I think it's a quality that I think a lot of people appreciate, and I like finding out and expanding my own frame of reference through other people.
I see. All right. Ready for another one?
Yes.
Let's do it. Next question. Tough question for you now. If your plane was going down and you could call just one person to say goodbye, who that would be and why?
Oh my gosh, I think about this all the time because I'm kind of afraid to fly. So, I think, I mean, probably my mom. You know, with because yeah, probably my mom. And um, it's so sad to like think about, I guess. But I think yeah, just her. And I think it's kind of in a very weird way. That would be a very like full circle moment as like coming into life, via her, and then like kind of like so yeah, probably my mom, and I would want to give her. Hopefully, I would have enough time to give her some messages to relay to my other friends and family and stuff.
What's the biggest difference between you and your mom and the biggest similarity?
I was just telling someone about this the other day. So my mom and I'll kind of use my dad and my brother for to answer this question too, but my mom and I are very similar in like a micro way, and my dad and I are similar in a macro way. And so what I mean by that is like my mom and I have the same personality, and we like have the same sense of humor and like laugh at the same jokes and are like each other like in that way. Like we talk with our hands, and my dad and I like see the world the same. And whereas my mom and my brother see the world the same, and my brother and my dad are more like each other in like the small ways. So I
I see.
think my mom and I are like each other in kind of like the everyday life type of situations.
I see. Okay, next question. Okay,
Okay,
next
good.
question is, what things do you consider to be the relationship deal breakers?
Probably a relationship deal breaker for me would be someone who does not have an open mind and who is not a good communicator would be kind of the bad things because I'm a good communicator and it's often hard for me to find, you know what I mean, to express myself to someone who is not skilled in that way.
How about in Los Angeles? In your experience, in your opinion, it's easy to maintain a relationship. How is the dating life in Los Angeles, in your opinion?
It can be, I found it that can be tricky because, you know, I mean, I think probably dating in a metropolitan area of any kind is probably a little bit harder because there's more people to weed through. Um, and in Los Angeles, I think people are really interested. You know, this is a generalization, but I think people are ambitious, which I really like, and they're all, you know, we're here to pursue, as am I, here to pursue goals and everything. And so, I think sometimes being in a deep, meaningful relationship can sometimes be on the back burner for a lot of people. So, um, yeah, it's just about finding someone who kind of is in the same place with you emotionally and wants to go forward with intimacy in the same way that you kind of want. And yeah, you know, I think having connections with anybody, even friends, can be hard. Do you know what I mean? Um, so it's a little tricky to find kind of that person that's on the same page as you.
And do you see yourself living there for a long while?
I mean, yeah, I've been here for 12 years. It's hard to beat with like the weather. And I mean, there is a lot of culture here and I do like it. And, you know, it's like in an industry, the entertainment industry is kind of part of what I do. So this is definitely the place for that. I wouldn't see myself, I mean, going back and forth between maybe New York and LA, like would be kind of the ideal scenario. Um, But yeah, for now, it's where I am.
I see. All right. Next question, Kyle. Let's do it. Okay, next question is, good question. If you're not yourself, would you like to be yourself and why?
That's a fun question. Yeah, I would like to be myself because, um, I mean, it's a very like meta question, but I think like I like myself and I like a lot of aspects about myself, and I think, um, I don't know. I mean, I think I have a lot to offer people. I think I'm pretty. This is a good question. I think it's and I'm trying to not sound like self-absorbed while answering it, but I I do there are facets of myself that I really enjoy, and I know that I'm a good friend and I'm a good boyfriend in relationships, and I, you know, have a good, you know, career and um and I think one of the reasons why is because I really try and just optimize my life. Like I said back earlier, like we're, you know, only here once maybe, and I really want to just get the most out of life that I can. And so I would, if I was not myself, I would be attracted to someone that would be like that.
Amazing. 3 questions left for you. Let's do it. Before the next one, what's the best part of being an author? What's the biggest joy of it? And the flip side, what do you find most challenging?
I think the biggest joy is being able to like immerse yourself into an idea or a story and entertain people. Do you know what I mean? Or provide value in some way to readers, because I think that for me, writing is very therapeutic. So that's really great for me. But if my therapy, quote unquote, can help or entertain other people, like that is like the best. I really love the feeling that other people get from reading my work. And the worst thing is, I think just it takes a lot of time to like write something like good, So I can be a little bit impatient in general. So there isn't a lot of instant gratification. It can take like a year for someone to like read your work. So that's probably the thing that I like the least.
And when was the moment that you realized that you were born to be an author, that you said, okay, I would like to write a book?
I was writing like, novels since I was like a kid. Like my parents would get me little like notebooks that I would fill with stories. So it's always been like part of me, like, innately. And so, yeah, so I think ever since I was a kid, and then as an adult, I kind of really just thought about like, oh, I could actually make a career doing this.
I see. Okay. Next question is, what's your idea of a perfect day?
A perfect day would, I think, be waking up. I would think probably getting some kind of exercise, you know what I mean? Like maybe like an hour of exercise just to like start the day on a good note where I'm feeling like mentally and physically good. And then maybe like going out to brunch or lunch with friends. Maybe going to like a museum or something, it's kind of something cultural and different and fun. And maybe kind of ending like the rest of the day like at the beach having dinner with like friends and family that I love.
See, 2 questions left. Let's do it. Before the next question, in your opinion, what do you think people, as you mentioned before, that people nowadays with those platforms, OnlyFans, and people, they are more open about sex, and somehow they're educating people as well, in breaking a lot of stigmas that people has, from people who works in that fields, people who like to express themselves. I had a few people here on the show who does this work and they love it and they feel as a business, became a business, they become an entrepreneur. It's a lot of things involved, not just about the action itself. For you, what's in your opinion, what's being the positive things that those platforms has bringing for people? How they are helping people nowadays, the society, with those platforms?
Like only thing like for sex workers you're talking about?
Yeah, like for people who does like all those platforms.
Yeah, I think that it's just a really interesting way to reframe. Like I think I mean, in America and in the UK, it's probably a little bit different, but in America, it's very like puritanical still for like sexually. Like it's, sex is still very taboo, and I feel like Europe, people are a little more like free thinking. But in America, there's still a lot of shame surrounded, with sex. And so I think just watching the culture shift and move, more toward being more open and free, I think is cool and interesting. And I think those OnlyFans, there's all different types of creators, right? So whatever you are interested in, there's someone for you. So so I think it's kind of interesting and nice for people to not feel so if they have like a fetish or something like that, like they don't have to feel so bad or alone in what they find sexually arousing. They can go find an OnlyFans creator who maybe is doing that. So I think that is cool. They're kind of offering a perspective. I don't know if it's called a service, but entertainment that is appealing to a lot of different types of people and interests. And again, the safety piece, like when I was writing my book, I interviewed a lot of sex workers, and there's an inherent danger with being a sex worker. And so OnlyFans creators don't have to, they're completely in control of what situations they're putting themselves in, and I think that is really really admirable and nice, and a way to kind of change the industry.
All right. Next question is, what's the best advice have you ever received?
Oh, the best advice I've ever received. I think, I mean, I've received so much good advice, but I think this one always stands out to me. It was something my friend Jason said to me like years ago when I was kind of like breaking up with an ex and like still seeing them out, you know what I mean? And kind of like figuring out how they would be in my life. And I would feel badly if I would like say no to them, you know what I mean, about going to their birthday or something like that. And my friend Jason said to me, he said, it's so simple, but it's profound. He just said, protect your heart. And I think that is just applicable in a lot of different ways, in relationships, in, a passion you're pursuing in work, like do something that is basically in integrity with yourself, protect your heart, protect what you love and what you want to do, and you will be in a good spot.
Ready for the last question?
Yes.
Last question, let's do it. Hey Kyle, before the last question, through the work that you did before you started writing the book, yeah, you said that you talked to a lot of guys, working as sex workers, and for you, tell me something that you've learned, that you took out of those conversations, something that you didn't know, something interesting or something funny, and for you, what's the lesson that the book taught you so far when you put everything together?
I guess the thing, I mean, there's been funny stories. Like I had a friend of mine who is an OnlyFans creator, and she would, and even before OnlyFans, this was before OnlyFans happened, but she was telling me stories about situations where people would proposition her with different scenarios and whatever. And like the requests that she would get were so strange that they were like, you kind of have to laugh at them, And so I used that as inspiration for some scenes in the book that are just very kind of off the wall and strange. And in the book, they're supposed to be kind of funny, but they're also based in reality. So it's really interesting. And I think what the book taught me was that it's okay to be yourself, because I think in the book, the character goes through, he discovers his sexuality through sex works. And so I think, and it's something that he had been kind of like suppressing and sublimating for a long time, like unknowingly. And so I think the message that, the book delivers and just reinforced in me is to just kind of always be yourself, and that yourself is good enough. Do you know what I mean? That you are whole and perfect in just the way that you are, and don't, try and fit into society's box of what you think you should be. Just be yourself.
Amazing. Last question is, what is the most romantic thing someone has ever done for you?
This is a good question. I think like for some reason, like little things really mean a lot to me, like that I don't like. it's like little things that I am really won over by for some reason, because I feel like there is, like, anyone can like get you flowers or like take you out to dinner or whatever, but I was, dating someone, and it was like something was like wrong with like my water filter in my refrigerator. So specific. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, let me clean that out for you and like fix that for you." And I was like, "That's so," like, to me, I was like, Really? Like, are you sure you want to do that?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I think like to have someone that does something so mundane, do you know what I mean, really shows their affection for you, because it's not this grand gesture of a gift or this romantic gesture. It's just like having someone be there in the everyday moments that has your back and that is willing to do things for you. To me, that like it really stands out in my mind as something that was like, oh, this person really cares about me, you know? And so it's such a funny answer, but probably that.
Do you consider yourself to be a romantic person?
Yeah, I romanticize like someone fixing my refrigerator. Like I'm very romantic.
Amazing. Okay, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Let's start with money,
Success,
family,
love,
life,
adventure,
love,
passion for some reason,
sex,
fun,
politics,
unfortunately binary,
religion,
personal,
fear,
overwhelming,
friendship,
lovely,
desire,
truth,
regret,
no such thing.
success,
The first thing came to my mind was happiness. I don't know what that says about me.
and one word for happiness.
Just being who you are.
Wish,
What was it?
wish,
Wish. Come true.
one word for New Jersey,
Tradition.
one word for Los Angeles,
Ambition.
one word for USA,
A little behind.
one word for author,
Like chasing dreams, dream chaser.
the last one now, Confessions of a Cowboy.
I don't know why this is the hardest one. I think just honest.
I like that. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friend, what is the most beautiful thing about Kyle, and what's something that he still needs to work on, to improve on? What your best friend would say?
I think they would say, I'm picking one particular friend, because all my friends would probably say something a little bit different, but the person that I'm thinking of would probably say my greatest quality is my ability to have fun and be social.
Mm-hmm.
And my worst quality is maybe being a little too kind of impatient or judgmental at times.
If I would ask the same question to your mom, would be the same answer?
I think she would say that my best quality is my fearlessness, and that my worst quality, yeah, probably the same.
Okay. Let's play now, Kyle and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But before that, let's play the music one more time. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, Kyle, you can ask me a question now.
I think since we were just talking about, the things I'm passionate about, I would wanted to say, aside from doing this show, what is something that you're really passionate about as well?
Good question. Good question. I'll tell you something. When you're talking about, passion, it's very simple. It's very simple, but I find this as a therapeutical. I love going to the cinemas. I love going to the theater to see movies. For some reason, it's one of the only place where I go that I completely forget about the world outside. I don't know. There's something about when I sit down in the cinema to watch a movie, I forget about. I started realizing that when I grow up. My goodness, I was into the story, even if I don't connect too much with the movie or if I love the movie or whatever. But for some reason, as soon as I get there, I get the popcorns or ice cream or nothing. As soon as the movie starts, I forget about the world out there. So it's something that people who knows me very well, they know how passionate I am about movies, about going to cinema. And traveling as well. I love traveling. I'm in Canada right now, actually. I'm in Montreal. I'm visiting my friends. So I came from, I got some birthdays. So I'm here in Canada, in Montreal. Traveling. But I would say going to see a movie. It's for me, it's therapeutical. I just forget about the world out there. Brings me joy. I go at least twice a week or once a week. And I tell my friends, I'm going to my therapy session.
Right.
So I love, and of course, the Magic Box. Connect with people is the biggest joy for me. When you're saying about, your ability of connect with people, it's something that the Magic Box, it's all about. And I feel so privileged to be here sitting with people over the world and, connecting with other people as well. So that's my passion in life.
I love that. I think, and too, I think the cinema is about connection, like you're connecting to other people's stories. And even when you think you don't, like you said, you don't see yourself in a certain movie, all of our stories are kind of the same, you know what I mean? And so cinema provides, I think,
there's always something there, and I love going to the movies when I don't watch the trailer. I like getting there just to see what's on.
Yeah.
And so many good surprises. You go like, oh my God, what? Sometimes just go for the director, the actor, the actress. It's something there, but it's my therapeutical moment, like weekly session. I love that.
Good.
Did you enjoy the interview, Kyle?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful.
Thanks so much for taking the time. I know we are very busy. I think nowadays when people they give their time to us, I think it's a big thing. But before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
I think the main thing it goes back to the first question of what you asked about success. I think it's just about following your dreams. I think that we really should do as whatever we can, even if if you have a passion, just really, really follow it. Even in the smallest way that you can. If you want to write, you don't have to have a book published. You can just write for yourself, but just do the things that light you on fire,
The Confessions of a Callboy. There is a continuation, so another book come along in the future or not?
So Confessions of a Callboy is a spin-off of my first two books. So if you read my first book, the main character of Confessions of a Callboy is in the very first book that I wrote. So all my books are connected.
Exciting! Let's see what's going to come next.
Yeah. Thank you
so much. Regards to your family, to your friends, and you keep in touch, okay? It was a pleasure.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.